Hi everyone. So I wanted to do a video on the present tense, even if we've probably seen it together in class, just because it's the first tense you need to learn when you're in year 7, and it's also obviously one of those you absolutely need for GCSE and for A-level. So I wanted to go over it, especially since it is the first one you see. It doesn't mean it's the easiest, because there's a lot of endings to know. So I just wanted to go over everything with you. So, first, when do you use this tense? You use it when you want to talk about two things. So, either what you do, for example, what you do usually. So, we use it to mention a habit, for example, um, or also what you are doing. For example, what you are doing right now. So if I give you a few examples, it's not always easy for students to know whether they should use the present tense or not. So my tip is try to put a time phrase that you know works with the present, for example, usually or right now. If I say, I like to swim, if you can put right now, usually, in that sentence, it means you need to use the present tense. So, usually I like to swim. That tells you that's working. So that tells you that I like will be in the present. If you want to say, I am revising my English, if you can put right now or usually in that sentence, it will tell you if it's the present tense or not. And you can say, right now, I'm revising my English. So that tells you that the verb you want to use has to be in the present tense in French. Okay? So, how do you form it? The first thing you need to do for regular verbs, so this is the regular pattern I'm showing you. The first thing you need to do is to take the infinitive. If you don't remember what an infinitive is, you've got three in front of you. Regarder, to watch, finir, to finish, and entendre, to hear. In English, an infinitive it's a verb that starts with to, so it's the form that says to do something. In French, we don't have the to in front of the verb, but we have three different kinds of endings. So we've got the er type, the ir type, and the re type. So that's the reminder of what an infinitive is. Now, what do you do with those infinitives when you want to form your present tense? Well, the first thing you need to do is to get rid of that infinitive ending. So cross the er, cross the ir, cross the re. Once you've got that, obviously you need to know what pronoun you want to use here. So I, you, he, she, we. I only put one. We, you plural, or they. And with that, you just put it down for every pronoun for all the verbs. So, what you have now is called a stem. So once you have got rid of the infinitive ending, what is left here is the stem. That's just the name we give it to that part. If you don't remember it in year 7, 8 or 9, it doesn't really matter. For GCSE and A-level, it would be more than handy. So once you've got that stem, we need to add the endings at the end of the stems to form the present tense. Now, the annoying thing with the present is that each type of infinitive has a different set of endings. So you need to know this set of ending, and this one. So I'm going to use a color code just to make it obvious that there's different endings for each type of infinitive. So for ER verbs, the endings are for I, I, for tu, es, for il, I, for nous, ons, for vous, iz, and for il, int. So that's I watch, you watch, he watches, or I am watching, you are watching, he is watching, etc., etc. For IR verbs, once again, different set of endings, so you need to remember those two. So for I, is. For you singular, is again. For he or she or we if it's on, it. For we, ISSONS, and that's the part that is tricky. Don't forget that ISS. For vous, ISSEZ, and for they, ISSENT. And the last one in RE, for I, you've got an S. For tu, you have an S too. For il, elle, and on, you have no ending. So I put that symbol. Please remember that it means no ending. For nous, ONS. For vous, IZ. For they, il, ENT. There you go. So you can see now that there's endings that will be similar from one tense to another, or that there will be some similarities at least. For example, here there's always an S at the end, but sometimes there's an I, sometimes there's an E. Here there's always an ENT, here there's always an EZ, and here there's always an ONS. But don't get confused, once again, between the set of endings for ER, the one for IR, and the one for RE. So, let's hope that makes sense so far. We are going to do an exercise. I'm going to use this explanation to do the first example with you. So, I'm going to take that out of the way, otherwise it's just confusing. So, the first example, I feel or I am feeling. That's the verb in French. To feel is the verb remplir, which is an IR verb. So, like I explained, the very first thing you need to know to do, no matter if the verb is ending in ER, IR, or RE, get rid of those two last letters. So, you've got your stem now that stops after the L, and you've got the pronoun I. So, you put down your je, and then you put down your stem, RMPL. There you go. And then that was, and that still is, an IR verb, and you want the ending for je. So you check in that column, not in this one or in this one, because this one is an IR verb, and you pick the ending for je with IR, that's IS, and you've got I feel or I am feeling, je remplis. So take a few minutes, pause the video, do the exercise, and I'm going to mark that after. Okay, so I sing or I am singing. Once again, the pronoun is je. You take off your ER, so you end up with that stem. And if you check in the lesson, the ending for je with ER, the first column, it's an E. You choose with tu, take off the IR, and pick the ending for tu with IR verbs, that's IS. He sells, so il, and then take off the RE, check the ending for il with RE verb, there's nothing, so you just leave it like that, you don't add anything. We invest, we is nous, invest, you take off the IR, and then we, for IR verb, ISSONS, nous investissons. Vous, take off the RE, and then put the ending. I'm not going back. You can check in your own notes. It's ONS. Wow, no, it's not ONS. Sorry, it's EZ. Apologies for that. So vous attendez. Maybe I should have checked. And they play. Il joue. So you take off the ER and you put the ENT ending. I was double checking now. I don't trust myself anymore. So that's for the regular pattern, for the regular verbs. But if you're only starting in French, you will soon realize that with most of the tenses, there's a bunch of irregular verbs. So now always almost the same. Um, so to have, to be, to do, and to go. The rule, if they are irregulars, it means they don't follow this pattern. So forget the rule. They have their own settings, and this is what they look like. So I have, j'ai, then for the rest, tu as, il a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont. For the verb to be, I am, you are, etc. Je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont. For the verb to do, I do, etc. Je fais, tu fais, il fait, nous faisons, vous faites, ils font. And for the verb to go, I go, you go, etc. Je vais, tu vas, il va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont. So there's not 20 things to do with that. You only have to learn it. Now that's a lot. My tip is use songs. There's plenty on YouTube. I'm going to put links for each verb in the description of that video. Go and listen to the songs. They're so catchy that it will stick in your brain. You will never get rid of it afterwards, and you will never forget those verbs. So I hope that was useful. Practice it because, like I said, you can't spare this tense. You have to know it. See you later for another tense, guys. Bye bye.